Welcome back to our new delegate orientation for the Diocese of Western North Carolina. This is part 2. I'm still Jim Pritchett. I'm still the canon to the ordinary, and I'm still glad that you're with us. Let's look at some nuts and bolts, what you need to know about what's going on at convention. First of all, you're going to need a passing familiarity. This is good for all Episcopalians to have. With our provincial system, a passing familiarity is going to be enough for you. There's not going to be a test on this, but you want to know what people are talking about if this comes up. The Episcopal Church is divided into 9 provinces. These are large geographical areas that encompass a number of dioceses. Provincial synods meet twice in the 3 years between general conventions. And deputies to general convention are also delegates to their provincial synod. Now, we belong to the province of Swanee, which is usually known as Province 4. There are 20 dioceses in Province 4, and as you can see, they comprise the southeastern United States. All right, a quick guide to convention. We're going to review some of the basics. The bishop is the regular presiding officer of convention. Convention uses rules of order, and these are mostly used on Saturday when we take votes. We'll discuss those in more detail in a minute. And you're going to get the convention edition of the Highland Episcopalian. When you check in, you'll be given a schedule and a map and voting cards. Red card and a green card. Red to vote no, green to vote yes. And remember, you need to have those cards handy when we're voting, or you'll miss a vote while you're looking for your cards. Now let's look at Thursday night. Well, first of all, we'll start with Thursday afternoon. We'll have new delegate orientation in person Thursday afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30 in the St. John's room, which is under the dining hall. And if you don't know where to go, people will be there to show you. And if you've finished all of this video presentation and you still would like to come in person, that's great. It's not an either or. It can easily be a both and. We want you to do whatever makes you comfortable and is most helpful to you. Now, Thursday night, we'll gather in the gymnasium at 7 o'clock to call the convention to order. That'll be 7 sharp, and to pray and to sing. And if you don't know where the gymnasium is, you can just follow the crowd. Also, on Thursday night, we'll do a little housekeeping, and then we're going to hear the bishop's address. This is an important time for the bishop to weigh in on issues facing our church and to remind us of our vision in the diocese. And then, being good Episcopalians, we'll have a wine and cheese reception. Non-alcoholic drinks will also be provided. It's important that this be available for everyone. And that's going to be in a different location. And I also want to note that we'll have exhibitors set up in there. There'll be exhibitions. And so I hope that you'll look at some of the exhibits. And that's a very interesting time to learn a lot about what's going on in the church and in the diocese. And it's, of course, a good time for fellowship with your brothers and sisters. On Friday, we'll start with morning prayer after breakfast. We'll conduct a little business. We'll do some housekeeping. And then we'll be privileged to hear from Professor David Gortner, who will speak to us twice on Friday about evangelism. And between those talks, we're going to break into small groups and discuss the impact on our lives of some of the things that he's talked about. You'll be given instructions about where to go for your small groups. Don't worry about that. Friday, we also receive and close nominations for positions being elected. And we'll hear some reports, including a report on the proposed budget. Now, legislative hearings. On Friday afternoon, the bishop assigns each piece of legislation, each resolution, to a legislative hearing. And there'll be maps to let you know where the hearings are held. Some legislative committees aren't going to have a resolution assigned to them. They still meet and discuss what they've been doing for the last year and what they would like to do, what their dreams are. And so it's important for you to go to those meetings as well. You should go where you're interested, but we also suggest that delegations split up to get as much coverage as possible. If a committee has a resolution assigned to it, and some committees have multiple resolutions assigned to them, they discuss the resolution and vote on whether to recommend that it be adopted with amendment, rejected, or tabled. The committee's recommendation will be made to convention as a report on Saturday morning. Now on Saturday, the rules become important, so let's look at why we have rules at all. Well, we have to have a godly conversation in a very large group. This will be about 300 people, and you just can't do that unless you have some rules of order. We also have to have an orderly dispatch of our business. Without rules, we could easily become chaotic. And we also want to be good stewards of your time. The rules require that we focus on the topic at hand and get our business done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So let's look at some of the rules of order. And this, of course, is just an overview. But if you wish to speak, go to a microphone. When you're called upon, state your name and your parish, and always address the chair. Always speak to the bishop. Never speak to another delegate. Please be succinct and confine your comments to the resolution being debated. Now, contested elections are voted upon by ballot. Some votes on resolutions are by voice. Some are by red and green cards, as we discussed. So remember to keep your cards handy. You can see the resolutions that we'll vote on in the Highland Episcopalian or in our diocesan website, www.diocese.wnc.org. Remember, let's go over ways of voting on resolutions. There are voice votes. If that's too close for the bishop to tell, we use card votes, red cards and green cards. If that's too close to tell, then the bishop will ask people to either raise their hands or keep their cards up while the tellers go around and count. And there's also something you should know about, which is a procedural maneuver called voting by orders. It requires that 5 delegates request it on a particular vote, and where there's a vote by orders, the lay order votes separately from the clergy order, and for the resolution to pass, it has to have a majority of the lay votes and a majority of the clergy votes on the same ballot. Some general observations. First of all, convention's not going to be as confusing as this presentation is, so don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. Nobody gets it all right, especially the first time. I suggest that you listen carefully and see what other folks are doing. It's okay to ask questions. Delegates who are veterans will be happy to help you. The staff will be happy to help you. Please ask questions if you're not sure what's going on. And have fun. You're going to learn more about your sisters and brothers in Christ and about our shared mission in the diocese. When you look at the exhibits, you'll see lots of things going on. Convention is part legislative session, part county fair, and part family reunion, and I really do hope that you enjoy it. Remember that we're not here to model Congress, thank goodness. Everything that we do, all of our deliberations are enveloped in prayer. We remember that our baptismal covenant requires us to respect the dignity of every human being. Jesus commands us to love each other. All of our deliberations are taken in the context of Christian fellowship and community, and we will be respectful and loving toward others who disagree with us, and especially toward others who disagree with us. And please take it home. Discuss your experience and what happened with your vestry and your congregation. And it might be important for you to ask for some time, ask your rector for some time to do that, maybe teaching a Sunday school class, maybe making announcements. But please think of a way to take this home and discuss it with your vestry and your congregation. And finally, thank you for serving as a delegate to the annual convention of the Diocese of Western North Carolina. We cannot have a church without you. As I said in part 1, you are the primary order of our church, and we very much appreciate that you come to convention and give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Thank you for your efforts. God bless you.